Hello, everybody. Welcome to a little TDT media special. My name is MJ. I'm joined here by our good friend Alec and our special guest, Jackson Slater. Jackson, before we get into any serious football talk, just give us a little intro on yourself. Tell us about yourself, where you grew up, and how you got to playing football at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, I'm from Bellevue, Washington, originally. Born and raised out there. I went to high school at Newport High School. Played football, basketball, and baseball for
Wow.
till like my sophomore year. Out there, football program wasn't super successful. I won three total high school football games
Oh my
playing out there.
gosh.
Yeah, so pretty rough high school experience. Which I think probably played a role in having me a little under recruited, I would say. Then Sacramento State was my only full ride offer out of high school, so kind of made it an easy choice. Started my first game week 4 of my true freshman year, and had been rolling ever since. Was started 44 consecutive games, and then
Wow.
tore my MCL towards the back of this past season in week 9. But it was a good career there. And then was, I guess, showed enough on my film for Jim Nagy to throw me an invite to the Senior Bowl. And here we are.
So, 3 high school wins.
Yeah.
What inspires you? You said you played all 3 sports, right?
Yeah.
Football, baseball, basketball. So, with a football team that was not performing, what still got you to the point where you chose football?
Yeah, I think I was probably putting in more to football compared to baseball and basketball. The other two were kind of just like sports I played for fun when the seasons rolled around, I would say. But football was kind of turned into more of a year-round deal. And then I think my sophomore year, I kind of realized if I wanted to take it as far as I wanted, I need to start putting more time into that during the baseball and basketball seasons. And I sort of started to fall out of love with those sports as well. I think baseball got a little too political for me, and there was too much running in basketball. So kind of easy to, say goodbye to those. I think it was the right time. And then, football obviously wasn't super successful, but I started training at this place called Ford Sports Performance in Washington. It's kind of like one of the main facilities out there. And it was like 5 minutes from my house, so commute was easy. I know a lot of guys who are coming from all over to train there. And I think that kind of showed me what I really need to do to be a successful ball player and what I need to put into it. And I think got me prepared for college ball for sure. So.
I love it. Alec, you played some college ball. What questions you got for Jackson?
Well, when I was looking up, kind of see what your game's kind of like, I see that you've played multiple positions. So, just if you want to kind of talk about that and what's your main position and how does that make you more versatile?
Yeah, so I played 42 games at guard at Sacramento State. Left guard was pretty much where I started at my first game my freshman year, and then pretty much played that the whole time through. I started 2 games at left tackle my sophomore year. So I feel confident that I could play all 5, at least at the FCS level. I could play all 5. And yeah, I mean, I feel like our offensive line coach always preached versatility. If you wanted to find, time on the field or a starting spot on the offensive line, you needed to know, more than one for sure. If you know all 5, that's great. But just, makes his life a little easier putting together lineups if someone goes down or whatever that may be. So I was always, my first couple of years bounced around a little bit. Freshman year, played tackle and guard. Sophomore year, I think played 4 spots leading up to that season, and then kind of settled into guard a little more my last 2 seasons. But yeah, I mean, I've always had the center ability as well. almost had to do that this year because our starting center, Nate Mejia, who's a good player, I think is going to Stanford now. But he came in with me and was kind of holding it down at center, and then had a injury in fall camp. So it was like, you might have to play center. And so I got a ton of center reps last season, which I think was really helpful for me going into this whole NFL process, because I know a lot of teams kind of see me there. And I think having that ability and kind of being able to have confidence in it, I think too, because before this season I was like, yeah, I probably could, but I don't know. I haven't like snapped, in live reps a whole lot. So I think it was really helpful getting those reps this year. But yeah, pretty versatile, I feel like.
Yeah. As far as like scheme wise, what kind of offense do you guys run there? And more so, are you better at pass blocking or like a zone run type lineman?
Yeah, I think a lot of scouts will tell you I'm a better pass blocker. I think I need to be more physical in the run game for sure. Something I've, kind of focused on and tried to, improve over my time at Sac State. But I feel like it's a pretty balanced offense. We run a lot of inside zone, counter, pin and pull. We started kind of getting a mid zone this year, which was doing really well, I think. But yeah, I mean, pretty balanced. We'll throw some RPOs in there. But yeah.
So pretty much everything that'll translate to the next level, though.
Yeah, I'd say pretty pro style, I would say.
That's what it seemed like when I was watching film earlier.
Yeah.
All right.
So Jackson, I'm curious. A lot of one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl. That's a pretty big impact. I've got two questions for you. First of all, is there anybody that you're excited to go up against? I know Jim Nagy already tweeted that and already kind of put out there you're going to be getting some center reps, which you mentioned earlier. So whether it's center or guard, is there anybody you're excited to kind of prove yourself against? We'll start there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone specific. Seems like a pretty talented D-line class that's going through Mobile this year. So I think, anyone that I do well against, I think is going to help me in my stock probably. So I wouldn't say there's one guy that I'm like excited to go against, but I'm definitely, excited to see how playing FCS ball stacks up to, probably a lot of potential day 1, day 2 picks. So,
yeah. So then on the flip side, is there anybody on the O line that is going to be there that you're excited to learn from?
Yeah, again, no one specific. I'd say I'm excited to kind of play alongside the other small school guys that are going to be there. Gray Zabel, Carson Vincent. I don't think Charles Grant's going to be there anymore, but I'm a big fan of those, small school guys. Always, I have been my whole career, just watching them, the Mason McCormicks of the world.
Yeah.
As I've come along, I'm like, hey, guys can kind of go through, small school, even D3. Like Quinn Miners was an All-Pro this year.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I liked following those guys throughout my time in college and kind of comparing myself to their game and I watched a ton of Mason McCormick film last year and, kind of like, hey, if I can play like this guy, then, I'll do all right. So it's kind of cool, that I'm kind of one of those guys now too, that I've kind of looked up to. So I started to kind of think about that and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah. So
Alec is a big Quinn Miners guy, aren't you?
Yeah, big Quinn Miners guy. I go to
Nice.
Whitewater myself, so.
Oh, nice. There you go. Yeah.
I love it.
Did you ever get one of those Billy the Beast shirts that he was doing?
yeah. There's a lot of people that have them here.
Yeah, I got one of those back in the day.
Yeah.
That dude is massive. I met him because he was at the Senior Bowl a couple of years ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah. He was at the Senior. He is, Jackson, to give you context, I'm 6'3", so it's very, very rare that I see a guy that's like, I mean, when I go to the Senior Bowl, I do, but like, it's very rare that I meet a guy that just is much bigger than me. And I shook Quinn's hand and he just engulfed my hand. And that's when, you see guys like that, and I'm like, yep, you're going to be just fine. You're
Yeah. He carries it
you're going
well
to be
too.
good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So I'm curious, the training leading up to the Senior Bowl. I know you mentioned before we hopped on here that you were training today. What specifically are you working on? Because I'm sure your training is different than it would be game prep wise. Obviously, I don't know how much studying you're doing of the opposing team yet. I'm sure you'll get to that when you're in Mobile. But what does your training look like leading up to the Senior Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I'd say it's a lot of like combine work still.
Okay.
The people at Exos is where I'm training. I feel like they kind of have a good formula for all-star games in the combine. So still getting a lot of combine work in. But I'm training with Mike Pollock, who is offensive line trainer. I think he usually trains the guys here every year. And the schedule's kind of like Tuesdays is usually like board work and kind of going over film. And then Wednesday, Thursday is more technique stuff. But right now it's not really like, I wouldn't say it's anything crazy. It's more just like, you know, touching things up, being more, consistent with what you want to do. It's a lot of pass pro stuff, preparing for those one-on-ones, which, a lot of weight gets put on those at these all-star games.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like little things that, might help you win reps easier than if you didn't, know how to do them. So it's going good so far. But yeah, I'd say a lot of pass pro, preparing for those one-on-ones thus far.
So one of the things we love asking anytime, especially we get to talk to O lineman or D lineman, is about your brand of trash talk. I am well aware that plenty of stuff goes on down in the trenches. Some of you probably don't want to say publicly, which is fine. But what is your style? Are you a super nice guy? Like how do you go about getting in the head of the guy you're lining up against all day?
Yeah, I usually don't say a ton. Pretty, silent killer type of guy. Usually let my play do the talking. Um, and you can usually tell when you're in a guy's head if you're beating them consistently and they're like, oh shit, or whatever they say. And it's like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. But yeah, usually don't say too much. Like, if anything, like, a lot of our philosophy as an offensive line at Sac State was like, usually if you trash talk a guy, it's just going to make him go harder. So, try to like brother-in-law him, like verbally. So, but then like, obviously when we're playing, it's like, we're going to try and kick your ass. But, try to be friendly. Like, I feel like that's kind of like an effective strategy a little bit. You don't
Yeah.
want to get guys super hot. And yeah, so overall, not a trash talker, I would say.
Have you ever done that, Alec? You ever brother-in-lawed somebody on the field?
I'm kind of the same way. I'm not, unless you come at me, I kind of just am quiet. But
Yeah,
yeah, as soon as you come at me, maybe here and there, I'll throw something back.
there you go.
I love it. Jackson, what excites you the most about the Senior Bowl? This can be, I mean, just kind of the whole week. It doesn't have to be football. It can be anything. I don't know if you're a big foodie, if there's any food you're excited to try out in Mobile. I know they got good seafood and stuff like that. But like, what are you most excited about that week?
Obviously the football and being able to get coached by a NFL staff, I think is really cool. But the one like non-practice thing I think I'm excited for, at least I think, is I'm a big like sports card guy,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure they like will make your sports card if you're down there because I think they have like a partnership
Yes.
with Panini or something. Um, so that's going to be like a pretty surreal moment for me, I would say. Being able to have like a legit, sports card, I think is going to be pretty cool.
And that's a one of one, I would assume.
Yeah, pretty exclusive. I might try and get it graded at some point and see.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Might as well see.
Yeah.
So what does your collection look like? How big of a sports card guy are you?
I'd say I'm like an avid collector. I kind of go in and out of collecting. I was pretty big into it, in elementary school and middle school, and then, kind of got out of it in high school for a bit, and then when COVID hit, started like getting into it again.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of like a buyer and seller a little bit more, because then, nothing to do. And then kind of stopped in college for the most part. Would sometimes get cards for like Christmas and stuff, and they're fun. But recently I've started like, seeing if Walmart has cards sometimes. Like I bought a bunch of boxes like the other day. So I've just
Oh,
been
I love it.
open them for fun. But yeah, I'm not crazy or anything, but I do like opening them these days.
What's the best card you have?
I think the best one I got is it's like a Mike Trout Topps rookie card, but
Ooh,
it's like a Target red border parallel, which makes it like worth more than, the regular one.
okay.
Yeah, but I got a couple of Patrick Mahomes rookies, which are pretty decent. Like got some vintage stuff too. But it's fun. Nowadays I kind of just go for the cool ones if I'm like buying a card, or if I'm opening them, hope I get something expensive. So
I love it because I've got a whole. I don't have it within reach, but I've got a whole uh, bin with like 5 different binders of baseball cards from when I was younger. They go
nice.
from like mid 2010s back to like got some family friends that gave me a bunch of their old baseball cards. So I've got stuff going back to like the 80s. Uh,
Nice.
and I've got them all in folders and stuff. I'm just keeping them because I know one day, I mean, it might be like my kids or my grandkids, but if I keep them in those nice binders, eventually something there will be valuable.
There you go.
I love it. Alec, do you have anything else for Jackson?
I was kind of thinking as we were talking, just kind of, I feel like most people have a team or like NFL team that they grow up and they just support them all the way growing up. Is there a certain team that you were a fan of growing up?
Yeah, I was a big Seahawks fan. Kind of
Washington
by
makes
that,
sense.
yeah, kind of
Yeah.
by that Seattle area.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd been a fan of them for, my dad was a fan. I remember watching I don't know if I actually remember it, but vivid memories of the 2005 Super Bowl that we lost, and then was fun watching them win it kind of as a kid, and went to the parade and stuff. So, yeah.
Jackson,
Cool.
I'm a big Packers fan, so I'm gonna choose to be nice to you.
Uh,
Uh, I'm gonna choose to be nice to you still and still support you. Um, got some haunted memories in that godforsaken place.
yeah,
Um, specifically, like the NFC Championship game is one thing. That Fail Mary still gets to me.
yeah, that's funny.
That one hurts me because I was 12, and that it's hard for a 12-year-old to process that, man.
Yeah.
Like that that
Oh,
hurt.
the
Alex,
onside kick.
yeah, Alex, a Packers fan too. Um, but yeah, that was rough. Okay, so Jackson, uh, I'm just curious. When it comes to like translating to the pro level, what's the one thing you're excited to learn from these coaches? You'll get a full install, you'll get a full week with a fresh game plan. What is, one thing you're excited to learn, and or what is one thing you're excited to kind of show like, hey, in an NFL system, this is what I do.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of interested on how like the scheme from college translates to NFL playbooks, and kind of how similar or different that might be. I think that's something I've always kind of wondered and never really like understood if we're doing similar stuff in college that I'm gonna also do at the next level. So it'd be great if it's pretty similar. That'd make it a little easier. But yeah, I think one thing I want to show is kind of, that I'm a smart guy. I think that's like big thing for centers is being able to like command
Yep.
an offensive line. And I think, being able to talk ball at a high level and then also understand what offensive line coach wants you to do, I think is really important. And I feel like I am that guy. So being able to show that to NFL staff, I think will be really valuable. And then I think I just kind of want to be more of like a dick when I play. I feel like every good offensive lineman has kind of a nasty side sometimes. And,
Oh yeah.
if you watch my film, there's flashes of it, but I wouldn't say it's a all the time thing for me in college. So I think it's something I need to like do better for sure. And kind of just, but I also want to play my game. And I think everyone kind of has their own way of playing football. And there's many different ways to be successful as an offensive lineman. But yeah, I think just being able to, get a couple finishes, couple fuck you reps, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. We're gonna be looking for that. I'm waiting.
Sounds good.
I won't be there, but Alec is gonna send me the video.
We'll be
when we
watching.
get one of those reps.
Okay.
I'm ready. All right, Jackson. My last question. I don't know if Alec has anything else. My last question for you. You said you like talking ball, so give me your favorite play call from State, and once you give me the call, we can dive into why it's your favorite to run.
Yeah. My favorite one was easily Pirate Right, which I was a left guard, and Pirate Right's essentially power. And I'm the puller because we're going to the right. And for the most part, it's basically I skip pull and take out the first guy I see. So there's not a whole lot of mental going on for the most part. Either it's an easy, trap pull to, hopefully a corner or a nickel. Those guys are, most fun to get out in space and take out. Sometimes it'd be a linebacker flowing over, but it'd kind of just be me getting out there and blocking the most dangerous guy. And, past couple of years, it's definitely been one of our better plays for sure. So I was always itching for a pirate call.
Go get somebody on the ground, Jackson.
Yeah.
I love it. Alec, you got anything else for him?
One last question. So, whether it's on the field, off the field, I just want to hear your pitch to NFL GMs why they should take a shot on you.
Yeah, I just think I'm a really consistent player. I'm not a guy that's going to cause a ton of issues. And I think I just, have taken a lot of pride in just getting my work done. Show up to work, get my work done, clock out. And that's, pretty much how I go about my business. So I think the biggest thing is, you can trust me to get the job done no matter what. That's not like an issue for me. I really, I take the time to take care of my body as well. Especially being here, the diet and nutrition is a big part of it. And I think, I'm the type of guy that might not always know exactly what to do, but if you're telling me the answers, I'm going to pass the test. So I think I just need to find the right, kind of atmosphere for me, find the right scheme that fits what I can do. And I think I'll be a really successful player and add value in any way I can.
Perfect.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Jackson, thank you so much for sitting down with us. I really appreciate it. Very excited to watch you play. Our guys will be down there in Mobile, so we're looking forward to talking to you and meeting you in person as well. Before we go, is there anything you want to promote? Any social media, anything like that?
You can find me on Instagram at Jackson Slater 76. You can hit me with a follow. But that's about it.
There we go. I love it. Well, best of luck in Mobile, sir. If there's anything we can do for you, please let me know, and we will see you down in Mobile.
Cool. Appreciate it.